To be here with you today. As you know, the Wealth Roundtable is something that's near and dear to our heart. It's so much more than money or tangible things, and we are on an ambitious mission to redefine wealth. Wealth is a mindset. It is a state of being, and we promised you that we would bring some of the best, most brilliant minds to you. And so we are so excited for who we have here with us today. Oh my gosh, we're so excited. Are we excited?
We are excited.
We are excited. So we have here with us our family, our sister, our dear sister, and an amazing, amazing young lady, Miss Latisha Eason. So let's give it up. Woo woo. All right, so you're going to hear me. I'm going to go ahead and put this disclaimer out there. You will hear us use our family name for her, Diane, interchangeably, but her first name is Latisha. And so we always open it up. And I want you to let the people know who you are, what you do, and how you add value.
Hello, my name is Latisha. I go by Diana. Um, I am a medical billing specialist. I've been doing it for 18 years. I also run my own business as well, called TCS Designs. And I'm just here to I add value all the way around the table because ministry from outside helping people in just all areas. You kind of got me. I do ministry. I help people as far as medical. I help people and like counseling. I do that part too. So I add the value to it by my experience. And
you're so amazing.
I am just so amazing at everything I do. That God allows me to do. Whatever He puts in my heart, that's what I do.
Yes.
So that is it.
I love it. I love what I can truly say about you is that every time that I'm around you, you just have this amazing way of helping, a ways and way of pitching in. You are a Jill of all trades. You are a master of a lot of things. And I love your tenacity, your drive. I see how you even interact with your children, how you interact with other people's children. So there's just so many giftings inside of you. And I applaud that you're not afraid to step out and to let God use you in the way that He does. So I want to start off by asking you questions, and then AKA Russell's going to ask a few as well. But
Okay.
I would love to know the woman behind the story. So there's something amazing that I have here that I had an opportunity to read, and you know I'm a crybaby, so I read it and I was inspired. And I cried and I laughed and I said, "Oh my goodness!" But tell us about your book and tell us what your inspiration was behind your book.
Okay, my book is called Birthing Purpose Out of Broken Places. What inspired me to write the book was my first tragedy in my life when I lost my mom when I was 5. From that point, in learning how to grow up, even though my grandmother did an awesome job, and what she instilled in me until her health failed, that led me to foster care. And then from there, I developed my own life with having my kids and then raising my own niece and nephew. So it inspired me to start to write the book because I'm always writing. I have like notebooks of this journaling. So one day I'm gonna put all of that in one book as well. But no matter what happens or where it goes, I could be sitting at work, something to hit me, and I write it down. And I can express my feelings a lot too as well through writing. So that led me to pull all of it out and just listen to people be like, "Oh, that's nothing. You was young. You don't remember anything." Well, honestly, when at that age, you remember a lot, and that kind of bothered me when I watch how families interact with each other, the kids and the parents, and then someone be so disrespectful, and I be thinking like, if you only knew that day that they be gone, how you gonna really feel? Cherish them while you have them. And it just led me to just inspire other people. So my main piece is out of broken places is the key point to it. And that's because no matter what happens in life, it's always broken places. But my first broken place was when my mom passed. Then my second broken place was when my sister passed. My third broken place was when my grandmother passed. So it's like I had like different steps of challenges that affected my life that I tried to redo it differently in my kids' life, and just having the great feeling to knowing my mom passed when she was 20, if I'm not 20 or 21. And then I look at it now that I'm 40 plus, and I live to see all my kids graduate high school and college. And no one has any kids yet. Well, I do have a grandbaby on the way, thank the Lord. But he's grown. He's 25. So I thank God for allowing me to be able to see this time pass and keep my inspiration going that's in my book. And I have a certain part in here where I use undeserving tragedy. That's the main key point of my inspiration, because we experience tragedy that is undeserving, but things happen. So that's my inspiration piece.
Ooh, that was so good. I'm going to give your brother Russell an opportunity to respond, and then I do have a question for you.
Okay.
All of that was like really great. A lot of good things you said. Like you said, a lot of things that people think you may not remember. I remember a lot as well. From being a young child and just going through different things. And like you said, all of it. We may not remember all of it. We may not remember every we thought and everything we felt, but a lot of the things that we felt then, we feel now, and we deal with those things in different ways in different situations, make us feel those things again, and those feelings, they kind of hang with you a little while, even
Yeah.
after, everything is gone. So, I mean, that is great. And I think that's amazing that you put that out there for other people to kind of read on, because I think sometimes we don't think about it and we hear it, and when we read it and we realize somebody else went through something similar,
Mhm.
we realize we're not alone in some of these things, in these situations. It kind of helps us out. And I say we because, like I said, I remember a lot from when I was a child as well. So I remember seeing things, hearing things, witnessing a lot
Mhm.
of things that probably a normal child, I say a normal child may not have witnessed.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's some it's definitely powerful, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Now, I want to talk to you about taking your power back. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. As I was reading through your book, and I read it from beginning to end, but there was something that struck me at the very beginning, because I started at the back of the book, then I went all the way through the front, I read the forwards, and I went all the way through. There
Mhm.
was something, a passage where you said you almost started to stop writing as you were going through that process. What gave you the courage to continue to tell your story? Because I think a lot of times people only want to talk about, the pretty pieces, the easy pieces of life, but to bare your soul and to tell parts of your story that maybe others did not know is a very courageous thing. So how did you get past that process of actually saying, I'm going to go through this?
Whew. Um,
Look, I know.
so I actually started writing this piece, I want to say my oldest son was about 1.5. I had like attempted suicide through taking pills or whatever. Of course, I have that in the book as well. And how I just, woke up, was mad with the world, didn't think I need to be here, what's the purpose? Um, as I watch different things happen in the world, because I work in a medical field and I see a lot of people coming in that has like anxiety, there's tragic stuff that happens to them from being raped and all. So I've been through all of that. So as I went through it, and one day I had started writing, I stopped, I started, I stopped, and then I actually went and got a tattoo because I was at a service and something hit me, and I was like, life do continues on even after this point.
Yes.
And so I have a tattoo with the butterfly because it's my signature, and it has the semicolon on it, let you know that life does continue from here. no matter what it is, life still can continue. It's all where we focus at. So then I went to a service with Pastor Nell. We was I want to say it was an evening service she had that day. And she said, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it kind of hit the back of me. And I pondered on it all that week. And then from there, I said, you know what? I got to finish it. I have to finish that piece, whether I put everything in it at one time, but enough to get it started. And then I can continue the journey and add to it as I go through. So from that service, it just led me to know people need to know that we can be in church all our life, which I have been because my grandmother brought us up in church. And it does not mean that you don't step outside of church as we're coming up, because we're learning and developing what life is about. So from that point, you just know that, okay, I stepped out. I came back, but I always been a baseline church person until I had to learn what's the difference between being saved and being religious. It's two different things. So you have to know that point to where you stand at. And we learn the ropes, and then it takes God to develop what you proceed out that makes me go forth in ministry from that inspiration.
Oh my gosh, that is so it's so amazing. And oh God, that's so amazing. And it's amazing too because everybody truly has a story. And I think
Mm-hmm.
so many times we overlook the story, but there's a story and a journey that everybody has. Now, there's another piece that I want to talk about. You lost your mom, and then we're gonna get to how all of this is like the bomb dot diggity calm now. You lost your mom at a young age. You became a mother. Tell me about the inspiration of now how you raise your children, even when sometimes you had to be maybe what you didn't have.
Ooh, well, um, when I became a mother, the very first time when I learned I was pregnant with my son, I couldn't believe it because I was always told I couldn't have kids because of the conditions. And then when I found out I was pregnant with my oldest son, I was like, y'all tripping. But from that journey, from having him to trying to take my life in the middle of that, coming out of that, getting married and having my other two kids, in my mind, I always said, I listen to people always say, oh, I'm going to do what I didn't have. I'm going to make sure my kids have this. We say that, but sometimes it don't work in that manner, but you try to do the best that you can to have it better than what you had. And that's been my roadmap to know that what I might didn't have coming here because of, raising by your grandparents and they so old in that type of era. And then we coming into this generation, coming in school, I've been picked at, I've been talked about, like just crazy stuff that really wasn't true. But I endured it because that's what came at me. So back then we didn't know heavy on bullying, but bullying was big back in our days. So just knowing that, showing my kids that no matter what we do, you just do the best you can. Don't disrespect nobody. And I always say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. If people say something about you, ignore them. But then I had to teach them, well, now you can't ignore this stuff. You can ignore it to a degree, but until it comes bigger than what you can handle, you need to tell somebody. Come tell me, because mama gonna handle it no matter what. I'm gonna stand on grounds. I used to say right or wrong until I learned the difference. I'm gonna stand with you right or wrong, but I'm still gonna let you know the right in the wrong. And just inspiring them to be better than me, go further out than me, that life has no end. It's what you choose to make it. So if I choose to stay right here, I want you to go here and keep going up and up and up. And so far, I thank God that they have followed the pattern that I've given them, and they have not fell off, no troubles from high school all the way to graduate from college. I'm really grateful for that because it's the next generation that has shown that it can be done, then versus people think that you can't do it.
And that's a true testimony of who you are by how they're raised. And we've seen firsthand how they're just soaring. They are, I always say, standing on the shoulders of greatness. And we're really proud of just the amazing work that you do as a mom and as a
Thank
friend
you.
and as a sister and as all of that. All right, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to chime in before we switch to this other side of the many hats that Latisha, aka Diane, has.
Okay. So, I mean, I just, again, I just want to kind of reiterate some of the things that you said. I mean, you may not have given them everything, but like again, we're talking about wealth, and that wealth of knowledge and experience, the things that you went through gave you so much value, because now you have so much to pour out and pour into, and the potholes, and the roads that lead nowhere. The things that
Mhm.
the signs. You recognize the things in them that you can steer them in another direction. Like you said, we were raised in church. We may have stepped out of the church, and we may not have done everything right, crossed every T, dotted every I, but we learned, and built we have built a wealth of knowledge and experience that we can share with our children to kind of push them forward. They can stand on our knowledge, and they don't have to go through those pits and valleys. And like you said, the bullying was a real thing in our day. It wasn't really called out as much as it is now.
Mhm.
So we do have a responsibility, as we see those trends and we see those things in our children, to kind of step in and make adjustments, and like you said, even sometimes be mama bear and daddy bear. You just have
Mhm.
to step in and make the difference. But yep, and I appreciate everything you've said so far. Appreciate
Thank you.
Listen, you got your brother to talk more than anybody on the show, is all I can say. I love it.
you.
All right. So my question for you, now I know you have been in the medical field for 16, 17 years. When did you get that entrepreneurial bug? Because you are so gifted with your mind, with your skill, with your hands. You're just very talented. That is breed forth businesses. And I even see you doing that and pouring that into your children. So when did that journey start for you? How did it start? And what was the motivation behind it?
Well, I actually started business. I want to say I was married. Me and my husband had a trucking company that we worked like FedEx. And so from that time, we did the trucking business to being a tax preparer. So we kind of did a little of all of it, from working in office work, because we were in the church. So I did a lot of office work. And so that led me to do what I do today, because everything is generated in the office. And just knowing that I wanted to have something on my own, even though we know we work for ourselves, but we still really work for others, because it takes one to get to one to move to one, and that produces the wealth as it come along, and you get into the right hands, and then boom, you have it. But I've been doing this in between journeys since it's been years, that we start out bits and pieces, and then I stopped. And then I want to say maybe 4 years ago, about 3 years ago, I went into my own direct business, which is TCS Designs, to produce things for families, because I work at a funeral home. So produce different gifts for them for keepsake. And then it just went from there.
So tell them, if they visit your virtual store, what will they get? What can they purchase?
They can purchase candles, pillows, shirts, bookmarks, fans, cups, you name it, I can get it for you. We could do banners. We do it. I do it all. So just let me know. Hey, we'll produce it for you. And I even make the designs as well, if you don't have your own.
Oh my gosh, I love
That's
it. I
awesome.
love it. All right, so the last question, there are two more questions I'm going to ask you. The
Okay.
first question is, if you could go back and give your younger self some advice, or if there was a young lady that you saw that resembled you in the past, what advice would you give her if she was on the verge of giving up?
My advice would be seek help. Don't be afraid to ask, and keep pushing regardless to the no.
I love it. And then the last question is a fun question. The next book that Miss Latisha Easton writes, if you had to come up with a title just off the cuff, what would it be?
Renewed mind.
Ooh, I love it. I think that's in the making now.
Yeah.
That's in the making.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for allowing us to feature you, allowing us to feature your amazing story, allowing people to know a little bit more about who you are as a person. You, again, more people are watching than you know. And what I absolutely admire about you, some people call it grind and all of that. I call it tenacity and resilience. Your ability to never quit and never give up and face things head on is amazing. And that is a strength and a grace. And I want to let you know that we absolutely love it. So I'll let your brother have closing words before we sign off and wave out.
Okay.
I just want to say, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up. Um, I heard a billionaire say, when you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. So stay green, keep growing, and keep doing great things.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought he was going to say God bless and good night.
And God bless. Good night.
All right, all. So thank you so much for joining us tonight for the Wealth Roundtable. Again, we've had an amazing feature. Miss Latisha Eason, pick up her book. We will have her information scrolling as well. And we're going to wave out. Good night.
Good night.